Hi, this is Rick Durr. What do you want to accomplish? Now, you've answered the email and it's sent you here. I welcome you. I'm glad you came. And I want to know how I can help you in your business. There's a few things I want to cover first. You see the spinning plates? That's what a lot of us do with a business. We'll get something going, it'll spin for a while, we'll lose track of it, and like the plate on the end, it'll fall over and break. And then you got to start over again. Or you just leave an empty stick hanging there. So what I want to teach you about and talk about that when I talk to you directly is about how you keep those things spinning and how you get the right personnel in there to do that for you. Because the only way to have an ideal business, of course, is to be able to build it up and walk away. Now, you can't do that from day one. You do have to do a little work first. So, do you feel like you're working too much, in your business and not enough on it? It happens with a lot of folks that are dealing with technical things, or they know a skill and that's what starts their business, and then they remain in the business having to do a lot of the work because it's geared to their skill, and they just don't trust someone else to do it. Or do you bring in employees and do you feel like they're wasting valuable time and resources that you're paying them for? And there's some of that may be because of poor training, either the methodology or the end result. Either way, you feel like you've wasted some money. We can address that. And are you wondering about your next, what your next move should be, to create more value for yourself in your business? A lot of times we kind of lose direction of where we want to go next with our business, or what's on the horizon that should be our next move. So a little bit about my background. That's me. My dad was in the military. We were stationed in Germany when I entered high school. I was entrepreneurial even way back then. One of the stories I remember talking about with my mom just recently was how there was a carnival that had come to town, and this was in Germany, and we were stationed there. And there was one game that I really liked. Was you're shooting a BB gun, trying to break chalk off of a string. So there's a hole through the chalk, and it was dropped on the string, and as you shot, you'd break it. If you cleared the whole thing, you won a prize. We collected a lot of that chalk that was half size or whatever, and made our own arcade up in we had an area above the apartments there in Germany that was like a big room, the same size as a whole apartment, just a big empty room. So we set that up with a blanket and their string, and we took our BB guns up there, and we charged our friends to come and try to win prizes, and we had prizes that were toys of our own that we were giving away as prizes, and that was kind of fun. Kind of learned a little bit of entrepreneurism way back then. Photography was what I also started while I was over there, just working in the dark room that they had there on the base, and with talking with the girls that had boyfriends in the football team. I could take pictures of those guys as the games progressed, and the girls would pay me for the printed photographs. So started that way back. My first job where I ended up getting a paycheck was at a car wash. Not loads of fun. In Southern California, I remember it well. I also worked at a drive-through dairy. Now this is a photomat, because I worked at photomat in the plant where you process the film, and you'd get a big old spool of film, and it would cut the pictures into sizes, and then you check that the frame on the film itself matched the last picture, and put them together and send them off with a price on them. Then I finally, at 18, got my real job at Disneyland. That was the one I really wanted. I thought I would be involved in photography there, but found out that somebody had to retire before you could get into that. So I worked on the Autopias, and as part of the organization, I would be able to check and find out when I could be more involved in photography. And as you can guess from this, it's not what I'm doing. I'm not a photographer at Disneyland. I did go to college after that, the award-winning photography major in college. I invented the first Apple II joystick and internal fan back in '77 with a partner. And then later went on to drive a 30 million division of a $200 million company. I took that division to 60 million in an 18-month window. So in terms of how you do that, a lot of that is structure and training and having the right systems in place for duplication and to make things happen. So joystick, this was the old Apple II in the basement of my home. And that lower picture is the fans. Had a TV just in front of there, and I could sit there for a few hours building my quota of fans for the day. It was my business with a partner, and I'd build some up in Utah. He was in California, and I'd ship them down, and he'd hand them over to the distributor. So really kind of a fun thing, and got us started in a business together. That's the actual joystick that we made, except it's missing a little plastic piece on top. Little Radio Shack buttons there, and this was, again, remember, 1977. Not as slick, but it was fun, and we sold a bunch of them. That's the ad we had for the internal fan. Now, the interesting thing on that is the very bottom, Circle 195 on reader service card. Back then in marketing, you would get the leads if somebody would fill out that card. And the way it worked is you'd pull the card out of the magazine. Anything you saw like this that was interesting, you'd circle it. You'd have your name and address and everything on the card, and you'd send it in. The magazine then would send it out to us. So we'd end up with cards from people that were interested and could contact them either phone or by mail. Back, remember, '77. There was no internet back then. I don't even think the first modems were back then. I do remember the first modem I used. It was 300 baud modem, and you had the handset that plugged into the earmuffs. It was real cool. Started a family back in those days, and learned machine language code. Used to write some different projects for clients. I also had my own school picture business, and that was kind of fun. So kept the photography going, and worked for somebody for a while, and then started my own company. That happens to be the little Z car with my daughter in there. So that was when we only had one, and we ended up having two right then. Actually, 4 girls altogether. And then the Macintosh came along. Kids got a little older. I went down to Southern California, and this was the company CMS Enhancements that I took from 30 to 60 million. That was my division. It was a $200 million company. This shows the 6-month revenues of their report, and that's 104. So it was a little over a $200 million company. So we had good times, vacations in Hawaii, that kind of thing. Learned, of course, a lot of different things about different businesses along the way. Worked for a smaller hard drive company called Eman Engineering. Blue Mac, we started from scratch and built the first Mac clones before they were authorized as Mac clones. Basically, took a PC case and put a Mac motherboard in there and different monitors and sped them up a little, and Apple actually bought one of them from us to see what we were up to. Had some friends that wanted some joysticks, and they remembered I'd done the first joystick, so came up with the Q stick for the for the Macintosh. So that worked on the whole line, and we incorporated some of their video games. It was a flight simulator video game we put together with. And then we did the very first trackpad for the Apple back before it was incorporated into the laptops. They still had trackballs then, and we had the technology license and did the external device. And then little handheld video gaming devices for the Apple as well. That's the box for the QPad for the Macintosh. And joysticks were used at LucasArts on one of their games, Rebel Assault. So they sent us the free game and mentioned this in the credits. I did about 25 titles altogether in different things, and Gridlock was one of those. Helped a small company called IRAD as their VP of production. We did the first yellow pages for the web back, I think it was 95 or so. Learned some 3D animation, actually owned my own SGI computer. And did some 3D ride films with IRAD, but also on my own. I even did IT recruiting for a short stint. That was kind of interesting. Went to work with another video game company called Wyvern Studios, and they had done a little bit on the web, giving away some copies. This is 1997, remember, so that's a while back. And we devised a way for them to give away free copies, but they would only play 3 rounds or 3 hands of solitaire, so it was the same cards over and over again after 3 times. And so then that enticed people to come and buy. Ended up selling 10 times more than he had in the previous year in the first couple of months. So it definitely made an impact. We did the desktop jigsaw, which was what I thought was the first competitive jigsaw puzzle. You could play against each other on a timed basis to see who could finish first. You could play in teams and groups. You could play on the same puzzle at the same time, so you were kind of racing to see who could put the most pieces in. And of course you'd do things like swipe their pieces and hide them and stuff. It was really kind of fun. Acclaim was the next big studio I worked with. I was a video game producer at Acclaim on the WWF wrestling titles for the Dreamcast. That was a real fun project for me. And then when they lost that, they went to ECW. And since I had the photography background, I went out and photographed 40 wrestlers to put their likeness in the game, which was really kind of neat. There was a motion capture studio in New York. I threw in that little picture with the red lights. People wear the black suits and the dots. I'm sure you've seen some of that. It's really a lot of fun. So a lot of variety in things I've done. Obviously, I sold game engine technology. I did some real estate investing, and then got involved in internet marketing. This is the game engine. That was the one that was used for No One Lives Forever. Lithtech was the company. And those sold for $250,000 to other game companies as middleware. They would use them to build their games. Real estate, that happens to be one of the places I was actually going to help someone sell, but I made the mistake of taking my wife out when I was going to photograph for the website. And she loved the heated tile floors. It had an acre. You can see the green grass in the backyard. We had a dog that got to roam around in there, and a garden on the left-hand corner. That cement pad is not a helicopter pad. That's actually just a basketball court. So that was kind of fun. Bought a gas station out about 6 miles away from there. And so that was kind of fun until the owners really didn't want to sell it. And we ended up having to give that one back, and I kind of got burned out on real estate, and that's when I got involved with the internet marketing stuff. Did a little bit in the call centers to kind of find out what that was all about. And yeah, you'll love ever working in a cubbyhole like that if you have to. That's your whole office right there, and as you can see to the left, there's somebody else, and we're both trying to talk on the phone at the same time. And it was one of my very first sites. Didn't know much. I hadn't seen anyone's courses yet or anything. Just kind of read a couple ebooks and put one together. I knew audio was going to be good, so I put audio in there, and was doing some affiliate sales. I don't think I sold more than $10 worth of stuff on that site. But the moneymaker back in 2004 was what we used was Directory Generator. And that was an interesting program, made these real ugly sites, and you can see where it says ads by Google. That was where the money came from. It was people just clicking on those ads to go find something else that they liked, and we got a few pennies. We even helped other people do it. There's a couple of guys here in Salt Lake that were nurses, and we helped them earn more than they earned in a year in a single month. In a 2-month window, they did, I think, 2 million visitors to their site. And it was like a series of sites. I think they had almost 200 sites because they were so easy to make with our system. But they did a couple million visitors, and they earned, I think it was close to 80,000, 79 something. It was amazing. And just to throw in my FTC disclaimer, I'm not claiming you can make that kind of money, because we're not even doing that program. Robbie LeBlanc, upper red shirt picture, Carl's the one with the mustache, and Robbie's the one without. And he introduced me to Carl, and got to go to some events that Carl was holding. And I happened to offer for Carl that I would take photographs of folks with a green screen, so they could put themselves on their websites. And so I was doing that at an event, and met Mike Filsame there. And I'd met him a couple times at other events, but got a chance to actually talk to him. And we took a cab ride together, and at the end of that ride, he wanted me to come and consult with him on growing his business. And once I was there, he offered me the VP of Operations position. So I worked with Mike until the end of 2008, and I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. We did a couple, $1 million plus launches, and I got to see, the inside workings of, $8 million plus internet business. We did live Ustream recordings sometimes. That was kind of fun. And there's kitty.com. Kitty was the office kitty. So if I'd bring my laptop in my case, it was warm in there. So if I set my case down, or set my laptop down and left the office for a minute, whenever I came back, she was in there hanging out. So after we wrapped up in December, I took the family to Disneyland, and then kind of had to look at what was next, and went on Mike's cruise that he does each year. That's Mike, myself, Donna Fox, and Captain Lou. Captain Lou organizes it all, and that's one of the ships we were on. But while I was on the ship, met Robert Allen, and so that was very interesting and fortuitous. Actually, the timing was right. And so Robert and I formed a company together, and then he introduced me to Mark Victor Hansen. And they had a book coming out, and originally that's what Robert and I were going to do, was launch one of his books, but he hadn't written it yet, and it was going to come out about the same time as their book Cash and Flash was scheduled to come out. So he decided to put that one on the back burner and work with Mark. And so we formed a partnership to market that book online. I laid out, a different mind map here for how we were going to do things. We put that all together. We did an event. I got to speak there with Mark and Bob on stage. In the upper left-hand corner is Lee Collins, a great guy that does a lot of online and offline work. And there's the group of people. It was a small event. We weren't trying to do hundreds. We just brought in just a small group, and we turned that in. It was 3 days, and we turned that into a DVD home study course. And there's Robert and a group of us at his house, and we did a site, and we gave away the DVD, for shipping and handling, and then the people joined a membership, and we brought that up to, I think it was about 100,000 a month, which was a good program, and did calls every week. And this one wanted to kind of tie it into something I forgot to say before. When I was doing the LithTech engine, the reason I left that company was when 9/11 hit, that business kind of dried out. I went to work with Jay Kubasek at Carbon Copy Pro. I was their chief operating officer and trained their VP of operations. And where that little A is in that photograph from Google is the apartment I had was in that Gateway Plaza, and that was just a couple blocks there from Ground Zero. So 10 years later, I'm just a couple blocks from a place that was the timing for my leaving one company. So you never know what's coming up, and you get to learn a lot of different things along the way. So obviously you can tell I've had a diverse background, a lot of different businesses, and learning how to grow them. That was the bike I rode while I was in New York. The office was just far enough. I didn't want to walk it every day, and I didn't want to pay $20 both ways for cab rides. So got the bike and was able to commute. It's an electric bike, so you don't have to pedal. You can if you want. On the weekends, I'd pedal a little and go about 40 miles up on each side of the Manhattan Island there. Did some affiliate sales. This is Mike telling me I'd won a $1,000 chip in the contest. I think I got 11th place, so he let me in. I was only supposed to be the top 10, but since I'd worked there before, he gave me one chip too. It was fun. I got to hang out with a lot of the the internet marketers: Frank Kern, Perry Belcher, Joe Terrian's there, Ryan Dice, Dave Gonzalez, Alex Neem, Tom Beal is there, Tom Bell also right next to me. I'm there in the yellow shirt. And a lot of the guys that really know their stuff. We were at Marshall Silver's house. He's sort of in the middle, just below Big Jason there. And no, Jason's not standing on something. That's just how tall he is. Done some speaking, obviously, on stage with Mark and Bob and some other event. And go on the cruise every year. This is actually the last cruise. I took my 20-year-old daughter. We got to do zip lines in Costa Rica. I think that was Costa Rica. There's one of the earlier cruise pictures. And there's myself with Frank Kern. On the upper right is Joe Sugarman. People may not know his face, but he's the guy who sold a lot of blue blockers. I don't know the exact number, but it was a lot. The lower left picture is myself with a group of us that met at an event. There's Robert in the middle. Ray Edwards on the far right. He's the fellow who actually did the copy for the Cash in a Flash sales page. And then Robert and I at Robert's house after one of the events, I helped film. I think he did Social Riches there at his home. He's got a new home now where he has some 3-day events that are just amazing. And so obviously I'm going to have something that I can do to help you, I hope. And one thing I'd like to do is when you're looking at this photo, try to figure out where that's from and kind of let me know where you think that is. Real rewards await those who choose wisely. So what can I do? How can I help you? Obviously, I could do some business consulting. I only do it part-time now. I don't do that as a full-time thing anymore. I enjoy doing it, and so I still want to continue to do it as long as I can. But the things we can work on are, funnel creation, product creation, how to do membership sites. I'm not a life coach, so, I want to hear about your business things, and obviously we'll get to know each other a little personally, and I just know that I'm not the right person to try to help you through life situations, but I do know some guys who are great at that. So, if that comes up and it seems like that's something you need help with, I'll recommend those guys to talk with you and see what they can do to help. But I really believe that, if we can be in touch and start to work together, there's things I can do to help. And really what I want to do is have everyone fill out the survey or questionnaire that I've got for you and just see where the fit is. There may be nothing I can do to help at this point, or there might be a lot I can do. So I just want to at least see what you're up to and see what I can do to help. A lot of I base things on is 5 business building blocks, and that's leadership of the company, administration, of course, and then finance, marketing, and customer fulfillment. So I want you to go to the site and download the questionnaire. It's a Word doc, so you can put as much or as little as you want in there. Also, remember on the bottom of that, right at the top, tell me where that photo was from. The Choose Wisely photo. I want to see who knows where that was from. And there'll be a way, if you want to go to the front of the line, I'm sending this out to a few thousand people on my list. And so it's not going to be something I'm doing, for other people's lists right now. I might do that later, but if you're seeing this right now, well, you won't know if it's now or later anyway. But those of you who are on my list, move quickly. If you want to go to the front of the line, you'll see how to do that when you get to the site. So now you just need to go to this location. It's rnrmarketingllc.com/consulting. and that's where you'll get in. Go ahead and put your email in again, so it puts you on this consulting list, so I can keep in touch with you on ideas I might have that can help, as well as that'll put you onto the page where you can download the questionnaire. And in between, you'll see how you can get to the front of the line if you want to. So that's the end, of course, or is it a new beginning for us both? I'm really hoping I can help. So go to rnrmarketingllc.com/consulting.